After we stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Number one, this evening our videographer is out ill, and so we will be recording the meeting. The clerk will be recording the meeting on her laptop, and we will be posting that entire transcript, the entire sound record of this meeting on the Facebook page and making it available to the public, so that we are recording this meeting so that it can be reviewed at a later time. But unfortunately, due to illness, it will not be, there will be no video recording of this meeting. So, also, let's see, welcome to the second of the 3 working sessions of the Muncie City Council Finance Committee. These working sessions are being held strictly for the purpose of gathering and processing a lot of detailed information by asking questions of the department heads regarding their proposed 2026 budgets. No decisions will be made regarding possible amendments to the budget ordinance, and no action will take place. Therefore, no public comments will be taken at this evening's meeting. However, the public is welcomed and encouraged to provide input at any of the 5 in-person opportunities before adoption takes place. There's the public hearing on September the 8th before our regular city council meeting. There are several times during the regular city council meeting on the 8th. There are also the final finance committee meeting on Tuesday, September the 23rd, and then there will be an opportunity before adoption to make public comment at our October 6th meeting. The public is also, of course, welcome to contact any and all of us by email as any and oftentimes as you'd like before now and then. We do welcome your input. Next, so many things. We have a situation where one of the department heads was not able to make the meeting on the 9th, and so I would like to entertain a motion to suspend the rules and add the clerk's report as well as city council report and channel 60 to this evening's agenda so we can discuss those budgets.
So
Second.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilperson Selby and a second by Councilperson Gullion. Thank you, Jen, for letting her take that one. Do we need to do a roll call on the suspension of the rules?
I would assume. Selby?
yes.
Gullion?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
McIntosh?
Yes.
Basham?
Yes.
Dishman? Not here. Green?
Here. Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
And Powell.
Thank you. And I think I skipped the roll call, so we'll go back to that and do that. Got so busy with housekeeping, I forgot to say who's here, so.
McIntosh?
Present.
Basham?
Here.
Green?
Here.
Dishman? Not here. Garrett?
Here.
Selby?
Here.
Gullion?
Here.
Mason?
Here.
Powell.
Here.
8 present.
Okay. So having suspended the rules and added the clerk's budget to this evening's meeting, we will start with the clerk. Thank you very much, Linda. That is on page 2 of your 2025 and 2026 budgets. Hold on, let us all get situated with all of our papers, and then we will start. Okay.
Thank you for suspending the rules so I could speak this evening. I have a prior engagement a conflict for next Tuesday. When I was reviewing what was advertised,
Let's make sure that microphone is on so that we can get.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get organized.
You are fine. We're gonna wait for just a moment. We have some technical difficulties that we can.
Good.
Thank you.
What
Belinda, we're going to hold on for a moment before you start that. The clerk's office
Gotcha.
starts on page 2
Got it.
of both the 25 and 26 budgets. All right. Are all committee members ready, or It's a lot of stuff, so don't feel,
Gotcha.
okay. I'd rather everybody be situated and ready than try to catch up. All right.
Good evening, and thank you for amending the rules so I can speak this evening.
Of course.
Have a commitment next Tuesday. I was looking at the advertised budget, and I noticed that there were some changes from what I actually originally submitted. I'm sure there's a typo there, but I did provide everyone a copy of what I had drafted. Does everyone have that?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll point out some of the items that were reduced. Now, overall, my budget is lower than last year's because
I do just need to let you know that we cannot increase any line item, and so the totals that we discussed tonight are going to be on what was advertised in the newspaper.
I'm aware.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that we cannot take.
I'm aware. I've known that for years. But my overall budget is lower than last year's because I have 2 employees that are not using the insurance currently. So the difference is over 42,000 from last year to this year. But there are some things that, again, that I had added to my budget. One of the things I reduced was overtime.
Right.
I reduced that by 1,500. And again, the insurance is down by 42,863.12 from last year. And I reduced the unemployment by 1,000 from 2000. Let's see here. Postage I increased partially because we do in the clerk's office, aside from supporting the council, we support the court. We are now doing certified mail for the building commissioner, for the trash. You can't collect on debt if you don't have a judgment, which means it has to go through court. Certified mail has gone up to almost $10 an envelope. So I increased that by 1,000. I am trying to work on finding some support to have reimbursement, and there is in the software the option to get reimbursed for certified mail, but not if you're city court, only for circuit. So there's some legislation that will actually help with the line item. That would completely wipe that out if we actually can do something about that. But right now I had to increase it by 1,000. So those are the actual changes I've made. And then, but as you said, you can't raise.
No.
I understand that. I have,
The soonest that we could do anything along those lines is an additional appropriation after January 1st.
well, I have an option. What we could do, because of the perpetuation fund, which I have a surplus, I could zero out an item that's being paid for out of general fund, and we could use that money to offset the...
Again, we cannot increase any line items until January. So that is an option that we could do in January, but unfortunately, state budgetary, statute regulations, 18 more, that won't allow us to.
Right. So, but I'm presenting an option here. So we have line items that I can actually use for perpetuation, and we could zero those line items and use that to offset what I had actually submitted.
Is that an option that you're proposing for January?
Well, either, but I mean, that is what I would like to propose.
Unfortunately, no, we cannot raise any line items. So I'm sorry.
No,
Madam
erase.
Chair, is that line item? We can't raise any line item.
We cannot increase any line items
Right.
that have been advertised already.
Yes, that's.
It's not even a local law, it's a state law. I can't remember what year it was, but several years ago, the previous council tried to increase the line item to move some rainy day fund into animal shelter for increased food, and the entire budget gets pushed out. That's not an option, because if your budget gets rejected, it's not just that you fall back to these line items, it's also that any increases in tax dollars is forfeited. You go back to exactly what you have.
Yeah.
And so we won't let that happen.
Right.
Okay.
Good.
So that's
I just
why.
wanted a clarification.
No,
for-
absolutely, absolutely. And so I apologize again, but that's not possible until
Okay,
January.
so if I wanted to take the equipment rental and repair maintenance, that's 9,000, and use perpetuation money to fund that, I couldn't use that 9,000 to cover the other.
We cannot increase any
Right.
line items.
That's
You-
fine.
if
No,
you
I'm just-
want to
I'm
go
asking.
ahead- If you want to go ahead and say, I will reduce this, but honestly, I would not do that this time. I would not voluntarily give up money that you plan on using for something else at this time. I would wait until January.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just presenting the information that I have.
I
And-
appreciate that, and I don't know why your
Right.
budget wasn't submitted as presented as an elected official. That's not council or the finance committee's situation. We did not change this budget at all.
Mhm.
That would be a conversation to have with the administration.
Oh, I'm sure it's a typo.
Or not.
I did have one question. As
Yeah.
of June 30th, you'd only spent 3% of training, travel, and fees. Is that something that you do toward the end of the year, or is that just something that, as of right now, you just haven't used it? Or,
As
and
of-
again, these are June 30th
Oh, right,
totals, so.
right. No, as of right now, I did send some of my staff to training.
Good.
Actually, I would like to point out some things about my staff, which is why I actually had suggested, and I know you're not funding it, a 5% raise for them, because they are doing excellent work.
They are.
I have court staff that are being asked to train out of county. Lacey's taken on some other responsibilities. So a lot of times when Lacey would go on her lunch breaks, or if she wasn't busy doing council items, she would work the front. She doesn't have that opportunity anymore because she's busier now.
Right.
So that takes a person off of the floor to help with answering questions at the window or taking phone calls. But I do have staff that are, like I said, asked to train in other courts. So my staff are doing excellent right now. I'm
Yes.
very proud of them. And they do deal with more of the general public than any other office here in the building. And often it's not very pleasant, I'll be honest. They get, people come in to pay fines that they're not happy about, so they get a lot of hostility. And I'm very proud of how they handle the situations. I like how things are going. The most recent hire has been a good fit. We're fully staffed right now, so it's been a great year. The training, I have not been able to attend as many trainings this year because of some family issues, but hopefully next year we'll be able to do that more. What I would like to do, if I cannot personally attend some of the trainings, I would like to send word to my staff. I sent some to court training this year, and they had a wonderful time. Brought back a lot of good information, which we shared with the court.
Good.
So it's a good working environment, and I'd love to do more of that. But yes, we didn't spend very much of that this year.
I wanted to touch on something you said. You said you're fully staffed right now.
Mhm.
Do you intend to stay that way through the end of the year, so that this hiring freeze that happens in January will not affect your staff?
I hope not.
Okay,
I mean, I can't predict the future.
of course.
Everyone seems to be, I mean, we've done a good job training the new hire. She's an excellent fit. Hopefully we don't have those problems. I've had some years where we just had some changes in staffing.
Okay. Anyone up here have questions for the clerk? Right ahead.
No, you go.
Let's start with you, Councilperson Selby.
Thank you.
You're
I,
welcome.
your electricity, 2,375 compared to, do you occupy most of that area, right?
We have,
Because the judges, when I compared, I think it was 500 electricity.
I don't know the actual square footage. I don't know what her charges are compared to ours. We have the common area. There are 4 people in it. Lacey has an office, I have an office, and Ruby has an office. And then we have the file room, which is a /file room /break room.
Okay.
When I first got my first term, we scanned every court document, every file. There are some things that I legally have to keep, the ordinance, the original ordinances, and there are certain documents that I can't scan and throw out. Then there's retention rules, of course. But
Well,
anything we could scan, square footage wise, I don't
yeah,
really know
and
what
I
we
know
have.
the controller mentioned that eventually everybody will be squared away, regarding like fairly even out, hopefully in the future.
Honestly, I could
square
probably
footage.
use some more room for storage with the other boards that Lacey's supporting. We're gonna probably need more file space. Eventually, not this year.
I'm sure that's something you probably have to bring up with the
Right,
building
that's gonna
commissioner,
be a
right?
future issue.
Not us.
Right.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Councilman Garrett.
Your postage, when you took over the postage for the building commissioner's office, is that the trash, the grass, the tall grass, is that everything, or is it just one? Like, do you send out
We're just
certified
doing-
mail for?
We're not
everything?
doing all of that right
Okay,
now. We're just
okay.
starting, we're just transitioning in. And I think we're trying to work out where they would pay for the postage, but ideally, it would be better if all of it just came through my office and we got reimbursed. The software actually allows for that. You can actually charge for that on a case if you file a case, but it's only if you're circuit, it's not if you're city. The same thing happened with overpayment. So we had circuit courts could take up to $3 in overpayment. So if somebody pays a ticket and there are 50 cents, 25 cents, $1, or up to $3, we would have to refund that money. Well, the stamp and the envelope and the check cost more than a 50-cent refund, which it would happen a lot to have a 50 cent. So I was able to talk to some legislators and they changed that to where the city court can keep that instead of sending those checks out. I'd like to do the same thing with the certified mail.
Okay. All right, yeah, I just wanted to know if you had taken on all of it. Because-
Not completely.
And we all know when you tag those properties and you lean that, it's kind of a shot in the dark if we get paid or not from that, so.
Well, but you can't collect, so with the judgments, so you have someone that goes to court for grass.
Right.
They can't collect overdue fines and fees until there's a court hearing and a judgment on the case. And then you have a time frame after that you can actually send it to collections. What we're trying to do is set it up to where we can actually collect it, like we did with parking.
Oh, okay.
Right now, there wasn't anything, so the judges worked that out with the building commissioner, and our office is providing that support, so we can actually collect on those people that never paid their fines or fees.
Oh, okay, good.
But there is a statute of limitations on those things too, so like after a certain period of time, you can't collect. But that's what we're working on. Yeah.
Did you have a follow-up? I'm sorry.
And then never mind. Wait, no. I just hit someone else, I'm sorry, I just
You're
lost
fine.
my
Well,
thread, but I do have.
Okay, I'll talk when you find
Oh,
where
there
you
it is.
are.
I found it.
Oh, you did. Got it.
And then I've been noticing, just because of SB1 and things are tight, telephone 4,275, and just educate me, what does that mean? I'm not.
The phone bills are
Cell
divided.
phones, is it?
Oh, I don't have a cell phone, we don't have a
Okay.
personal cell phone, it's all through the office.
Okay. So these are all for landlines? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and then Councilman Basham.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're all being asked to do more with less, and I understand the frustration. And I want to commend you because when I look at your budget performance report, throughout every line item, we're about 60% of the year, and you fall well within that 60, 50, 70%. However, when we're looking for ways to come up with other income, I noticed that item, printing and advertising, and also other services and charges are just at 9%, meaning that you've only spent 9% of all those dollars. And I wonder if you had a chance to look at those lines to see if maybe you could move some things around where they are needed more in.
Are you looking at the income statement, or what are you looking at?
I'm looking at the budget performance report from this last year's budget. And when you look at last year's budget to help you decide what you're gonna ask for this year, it's really helpful for me to look at this report to see what percentages of each line have been spent at this point in time. I know that's
Yeah.
kind of
Was
geeky
it-
to
Did you
you.
say other services
concerned.
and charges?
Yeah, and you know that there's a few $100s, maybe even $1,000, and you can go through those lines for your long performance report. And again, because it's early tonight, I didn't have a chance to really study it. But you know,
Okay, no, I have it here. A lot of times towards the end of the year now, what was the date on, what was the final date?
That was my next question. For clarification, what budget performance report are you using? Is that June 30th?
it's no, it's 9/4/25.
All right,
Got the update today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Sometimes we use that to cover the equipment rental, repair and maintenance, and sometimes we will use that other services and charges to cover if we are over in another area.
Sure.
So it's kind of like a.
I
it's a
know, I just
buffer.
noticed those little things.
Right,
I just perused it because I didn't know
Oh,
you
no,
were gonna be tonight, so. I wasn't
perfectly fine.
prepared for it.
It's a buffer for some of the other expenses may come up. It could end up being used in postage depending on what we end up at the end of the year.
Well, you do a great job and your people are terrific.
I have great staff. I'm very proud of them.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming in and making the opportunity to review your budget. And as far as the other options that you were discussing, those will be things we need to discuss in
No, that's-
January.
That's perfectly
So-
fine. I just wanted to present my information, and thank you for suspending the rules. Let me speak this evening.
Absolutely.
I have a
Absolutely.
question.
Oh, I'm so sorry. One moment, Councilperson Green.
One question from me on your deputy clerks that you have, are they salaried or are they hourly? And how many do you have?
Their salary, I have the deputy chief, I have Lacey, which is the council secretary, and I have 4 that are just considered chief deputies.
Deputy clerks.
Deputy, yeah, I mean,
So they are all salaried.
yes. And longevity, we have, oh gosh, I can't think, 4 with longevity.
The deputy clerks are hourly, and then the chief deputy
Oh, I'm sorry, I
is
apologize.
salary,
Right.
and then, yeah, there's 4
Okay.
of
That's
the
it. There's
Yeah, the
4.
overtime
Deputy.
line then, if they, okay. That
And so-
clarifies, thank you.
So to follow up on that, the chief deputy clerk increased significantly, and we're not talking about any kind of reductions there, but I just want to clarify that that would be the 1% that was adopted into the budget last October, and then the 4% that was added at a later time for this year to do the 5% this year, and then another 4% that you were instructed to add.
No, let
Maybe
me
that's
find my
convoluted,
paper.
but,
Let me find my paper.
It was hard to follow,
well,
Well, what I,
but I'm glad you did.
when I was
Thank you.
trying to come up with the budget, we
Mhm.
were told to do 4%. I did a 5,
correct.
hoping that I could help my staff out because they are doing extra work. And so I was looking at the salary ordinance, and I was looking at the adopted budget, and the numbers didn't match.
No, they don't.
They don't.
So I honestly, that's, if you look at even like my FICA, Medicare, and PERF, based on the numbers I used, not what was advertised, the numbers are off, they're a little higher because I was adding longevity, and you have to factor in whether they're, it was complicated.
We're not questioning any of that. We know that it's not a cut and dried formula. There are so many variables, as we all learned last year, that could change so many things. You can't use a cut
Right.
formula.
But I mean, as
Even
far as
given
like the benefit, the PERF, the Medicare, those things, I kind of leave that, whatever numbers, payroll, they're the experts in that. They give me the percentage, and I try to add that in to be as close as possible. But the salary ordinance and what was in there were just some slight differences. So I went with the salary ordinance because
Unfortunately, and we
No.
established that last year, the salary ordinances would not match what was adopted into the budget, what we've appropriated into line items. Salary ordinance is just a maximum of what can be paid, but not what is appropriated into line items.
Okay.
So we should be going by what
The line
council
items?
appropriated into line items.
Okay. Well, I
I don't
appreciate
know
the
that that was
clarification.
But that's the way it should be legally.
Right, so, okay, no, I appreciate the clarification because I was just trying to figure out which formula to use to come
Well,
up with the numbers.
and I just chose Chief Deputy Clerk, and I'm sorry if I cut you off.
Oh, that's fine.
I just chose that one because it almost fits perfectly into last October, council adopted a budget that had 1%, which is what the administration told council they would do a max of at that time when we
Right.
were going through the budget. And then after the fact, they gave 4% to AFSCME, I'm guessing. I don't know how that all worked, but everybody got a 5% raise, I guess, last year. And so that would have been the 1% plus 4%. And then this year, I'm understanding that you're instructed to add 4% salary increase for next year. And that's what I just was clarifying, that that's kind of the formula you used in calculating some of these increases. Because they're much larger than just a normal.
Right. Well, I'll be honest, because of the differences,
Mhm.
what I did was I had all of my staff pull up their payroll, and I actually looked at what it actually said they got on the payroll, because I couldn't I apologize, I couldn't figure out.
No,
what I
it's
was
okay.
supposed
Using the salary ordinances, which are the max you can be paid, almost every line item that's in the budget that we appropriated money for will run out of money at some point in time without an additional appropriation, because they're paying above what we appropriated into those line items. So,
Okay. Right.
but, no, I just wondered if that's the calculations you used. We can talk about the other things in January.
I honestly, I did it several different ways. I did the numbers 3 different times. But ultimately, council has control of the budget, so whatever you guys decide, I'm 100% supporting whatever your decision is. I would like my staff to get paid better, and if I can find a way to do that within the rules,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do that for them.
Again, and then we'll move on, but that, we cannot increase
I know.
anything this year, so.
I know.
All right, thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
Thank you.
All right, next, we will move on, if everyone's ready, to the mayor and his budget. It starts on page 3 of both 2025 and 2026. Mayor Ridenour, we'll welcome you to the front. I will ask you to make sure you're speaking into the microphone.
Yeah, let's
Our,
make sure it's
AV,
still.
Is not here this evening due to illness, and so we are recording this meeting on a laptop, and that will be posted to the Facebook page at a later time. And let's make sure one last thing is that we are not talking any more than we have to, because we don't want to interrupt the recording. We don't want to conflict, so. All right,
Good evening,
good evening.
Mayor Dan Ridenour. I think the adjustments on my budget, none of the items within the budget other than salary had the adjustments. We just have a 4% increase as all employees are getting. And then the perf was considerably lower because we no longer have Deputy Mayor Ivy.
Okay. Your part, I'll go ahead and, Larry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, before we really get started, is what formula did you use for the wages and raises?
4% over this.
But just like as Chairman Powell was asking.
Yeah,
what did you
4%,
use?
well, my sentence was, 4% over the salary ordinance?
The salary ordinance is
Yes,
what you
because the
used.
executive does have the authority during the year to add income or subtract income. And we did that when AFSCME received, actually when the police and fire received their increase, we did a new salary ordinance for them. And then a month later, we brought in the one that's for the employees, which was unanimously approved by this council. So we used the salary ordinance. If the budgets are necessary, then we will, before the end of the year, get an updated appropriations if it's necessary, before the end of the year.
if you'll be moving money into those line items to cover those salaries that will be necessary.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that looks like it will be the case, we will definitely do that.
All right. So let's see. Your part-time went up. Is that, you have
I believe that's 4%.
4% on part-time? Is that a designated part-time employee or is
It
that?
is a designated part-time employee.
Okay.
We did not, I'm not increasing that person's actual receiving amount, but it went up 4%.
So the hourly wage went up 4%?
No, the hourly wage will remain the same, but
They will
that,
just be working more to generate the 4%?
that will allow that, yes.
Okay.
It's not a lot of time, just a few hours, actually.
And then looking at and I'm looking at the June 6th report, your overtime, look at overtime. You've only spent 19% of your overtime budget as of the middle of the year, June the 3rd. Is that something that you're not using a lot of and could potentially be surrendered to the
Hey, we
general?
have been, especially with everything that's going on with Senate Bill 1, we're trying to be as careful as we can, and that is an area that is easily controlled by a department. And so I have been pretty strict. I don't know what the 9-4 number is. I don't receive that from the controller as you guys do before your meetings, but
Okay.
we're as careful as we can because we know I don't want to have to appropriate
course.
if we can and save money. Therefore, we try and be careful in that item.
And 6% of gas and oil at June 30th, is gas and oil considered, is that automotive gas and oil? Because that seems like a very small percentage of that line item for June.
I believe that's, I'd have to, I
It's up to
don't,
31 now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
again, trying to be
Councilperson
careful.
Selby.
Thank you.
No, 62, I'm sorry.
Mayor,
62.
I'm glad you're here. Could you just recap real quick as the leader of the city, since this is being recorded, how will SB1 levy caps affect the long-term staffing needs?
Oh, I think it has a negative impact. I have had conversations with many mayors and many county officials. It has a negative impact, and the schools as well. It has a negative impact. We've got to, we'll have to come up with ways in the future. We're covered this year and next year because of edit funds. But in 28, it will be, if we have to come up with new methods and new techniques to figure out how to operate with fewer people, we will have to do some drastic things in 28. is what I-
Or maybe shared staff or something between departments? No? That-
There could be some of that. It gets complicated, but that's certainly something we do now in a lot of ways. My office pays for a lot of the office supplies that are kind of third floor. But that's
Well, I
okay,
just-
that's how it's been budgeted, and we're happy to keep it that way.
Yeah, it looks like your budget is maintaining a lean operation, I would say, due to SB1, so thank you for that.
We're trying.
I have a question for you.
Sure, Councilperson Green.
On the promotion of businesses, you got a line item of $5,200. Could you explain to us how this exactly works and what that money's used for?
Sure. That could be a marketing piece that markets the city to organizations that are looking to expand. That could be me going and meeting with an organization. So it's promoting the city. But a lot of it is advertising and/or pieces that we use to share with organizations that are looking at cities as possible locations, as possible places to invest their funds. That's what I always viewed that as the purpose of that particular line item.
Thank you.
Anyone? Okay, so you brought up the edit funds, and I know at your press conference the other day, you said that you were going to be subsidizing the general fund budget with $900,000 of edit, correct?
That's the plan, yeah.
Okay, well, we appreciate that.
That's good.
on one second. The edit dollars actually went up, or will go up, about $1.9 million. That's what I'm seeing from estimate miscellaneous revenue. So even with the $900,000 that you're going to be subsidizing the general fund, you'll still have $1 million more next year than this, correct?
That would be correct.
All right.
Yep, there are liabilities, for example, the fire station, that is all paid out of edit. The next fire station is also planned to be paid out of edit. And the income taxes are what the state assets to us based on the incomes. We have had rising incomes in the city of Muncie. We have grown in population in the city of Muncie. All of that makes a difference in those edit funds. And that's how come that is going up, is we have higher incomes.
Right.
More people in the city and more income within the city.
President Mason.
With the increase, the $1 million surplus, does that mean that the $500,000 for the community center is still in play?
That is in play.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yep,
That's what
that
I
is in
think you
play.
asked.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Councilperson Bogan.
Mayor, could you just, the part-time position, what kind of position is that?
Mostly answering the phone, but also does a lot of the expenses for the city, and then does miscellaneous activities for the city engineer, does miscellaneous activities for me. So I would,
Administrative type?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay. Anyone else have questions for Mayor Ridenour? And I do want to thank you for going and advocating to squash Senate Bill 1. It was a bipartisan, so
Yep.
I appreciate you
And I have,
and
and
doing your
will
best.
continue to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to Board of Works, which I believe, Craig, right, we're going to pull you up here and keep you for a little bit of time. The Board of Works is on page 5 of both your 2026, 2026 years off, 2026 and 2025 budget.
It's kind of going in, yes.
It's muting itself after so long.
So, Board of Works, page 5. All right, let me get where okay. All right, first thing we notice is that you've moved all of the health insurance expenses for the general fund
And the Board of Works.
into Board of Works. And I think that will be beneficial. It's something we tried to do before.
Could you go into detail about
Sure.
that and tell us more about the reasoning behind that?
Well, we're just trying to consolidate everything. It's easier to control, like when you get for the claims and stuff, you gotta start separating it into departments instead of just taking it out of one. So it simplifies.
Yep, good.
But we will still see, and we did see health insurance line items in other funds that are not under, that for departments that don't fall under the general fund, correct? Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to explain,
Thank
that's
you.
why you
Thank
saw,
you. Yeah.
that's why you would see those coming up. What comprises other insurance for Board of Works? These are just mostly some procedural questions.
Yeah, the other insurance you'll have, like you got audits that the insurance companies will do, that we'll take it out of that. They do workers' comp audits, and the other insurances are general liabilities, etc.
Okay, and then kind of following on what Councilperson Selby asked of the clerks, there's a telephone. Is this just, when we see telephone in these different departments, is this just a main telephone bill that is sparsed out
Yep.
based on square footage?
It was
Okay.
it was done that years
All right,
ago.
because I just was curious, and so that's that.
Is it square footage or number of items, instruments, or is it?
Well,
I know square footage is an issue with insurance.
I don't think so, because council has, there are departments that don't have Board of Works, where would your phone be? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Eventually, all the utilities that, not including the sanitary district, will be
Right.
folded into the Board of Works, so that, just like for budgeting purposes, but since sanitary district pays for their own, we have to parse out what their part of the utilities and such, and would include.
Which, you also have like the animal shelter that's kind of,
Yeah.
all right, yes, please. Councilperson Gillian.
Does that include internet too, in the telephone, or am I?
No.
No, okay. Technology is IT, okay.
Okay, and then the line item repairs to buildings, what does that cover?
repairs to City Hall,
Like
any major repair,
Elevators,
yeah,
right, elevators, any repairs
So that would come out of that?
become necessary.
yes.
I think the work in the basement would come out of that.
For the police department, okay. Councilperson
Yes,
Green.
I have a question concerning that very line item,
Sure.
the repairs to the building. There are state and federal grants that are available for repairs and infrastructure and improvements. Have you tried to apply for any of those? And if so, are there any other funding mechanisms available that you're aware of to help offset that rather large cost?
Yeah, I haven't applied for him, however, we do have an individual that does look into grants that does a great job, that be something moving forward.
Okay, haven't found anything yet? Okay. May I have another question?
Absolutely,
If I may?
Councilperson Green.
A question on the electric bill. I'm assuming that includes, it's all inclusive of all the different buildings that are owned by the city, their electric bill. Also, does that include street lights, city lights, signals and all?
Yeah, there's one particular electric bill that is for traffic signals. It's $42,000 a month, so that's almost $500,000 right there.
And that's on average, it's traffic signals and street lights.
Does that come out of Board of Works or does that come out of streets? Because I know they have,
Board
we'll
of
get
Works.
that on Tuesday. Okay, all
So
right.
was that if I may,
No, please go ahead.
with that coming out of Board of Works, have you looked into the possibility of different alternative sources of electricity? We have those that are available, solar,
Yeah.
wind.
Well, we tried solar, that didn't work out for us, so, no, I don't know that, we don't own the electric lines, that's the electric company, so I don't know how that would work as far as electricity production or the type of electricity. It comes from AEP, because they own them.
Right, yeah, I understand that, but if we, may I continue?
Please, it's all, it's building on the same question.
Okay, it's an opportunity to draw in free electricity and store it, and we can have a substation and then put it back on the grid. Is that something that the administration may be considering, that we could do that to help reduce it? This is a large line item, and it'd be nice to reduce that number.
Yeah, I'm sure, I know that it's getting looked at.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So Councilperson Green, are you advocating for a solar farm? Is that what you're doing?
I'm advocating for all of them.
Okay.
We have opportunity, we have something.
We have a large property on 8th Street.
All right.
We,
Let's
okay,
move on to Councilperson.
No, I just wanted to say, may I make a comment or no?
Absolutely. I
Okay, the
recognize
comment
you,
is
yes.
regarding solar, and I really appreciate the council here keep bringing it up at every opportunity as a way to reduce. And if I may speak for myself, but you guys can, I support the administration to keep doing whatever. I know it didn't work on the last council, with the last council, but looking at this council, I think you have people who would support that. So thank you for keep trying, and I know you guys have been trying. Thank you.
Okay. Councilperson Darren.
You said you tried out solar. How didn't it work?
The council voted it down.
Okay, yeah.
At the Chevy plant,
Yeah.
yep, solar
So,
field.
have we
Sure,
looked,
sure.
have you looked into like, what the cost is for the, I'd like the little solar panels to go on top of the street lights and everything like that? To what, like, do we know what that would be?
Yeah, well, I can't give you a dollar figure, but if you go to Cannon Commons, those are solar lights.
Okay, we can.
So
yes,
when
that's
we
good.
have those opportunities, now that was paid for by Edit,
Mhm.
but, and in partnership with CEP.
Yep.
So we always appreciate Rick Ziegler, but those were solar. I wanted to mention, as far as searching for solar, we did apply for multiple grants. They're all were very competitive, and we were granted $3.6 million for that 8th Street field in a grant. But those funds were pulled by the new, by Doge. So, and so we were one of 6 cities that got that grant. We were going to be able to put in a field for all of those 55 acres. But that went away. So we've continued to look for opportunities, especially since the last council did vote down the solar option, which would have generated over, at this point, would have been about $590,000 into the general fund. But that is no longer an option, and the amounts that the utilities are allowed to pay customers who put in solar fields has now dropped substantially, and to where it's not economically viable, because I was going to use edit funds and put in a partial solar field, but it would take over 50 years to get that money back. And so we looked for grants, and we were granted. We were one of 6 cities in Indiana that got, and we got $3.6 million. But that was pulled back. As they didn't
Well,
want
thank
to
you for
do
trying.
that. And so we continue to look for those opportunities and for other grants. There aren't a lot of grant opportunities out there to help cities with building maintenance. That's just not something that's very exciting. It might be for us, but it's not something for a federal government or a state government to say, hey, we will help you pay for X, Y, and Z. They're happy to do that or help individuals who are on the lower income scale to help with paying for utilities. We're finding that's not, we're not finding very many options for grants in that area. These two have not been part of that process. I just thought I'd come up and say that we have diligently looked for opportunities and had one that we thought was going to go in, and even made the first cut through the Doge, and they had received their money, the organization that we were going to get those funds from, but in the end it got pulled in the second one. So that's why we never announced it. This is kind of the first time I've ever publicly announced that, but it would have been nice.
Yeah.
Would have been nice. But the amount we would have received is far different than we would have received back in 2022, because the utilities don't have to pay as much. It has to go in. They didn't have to pay the same rate that they were required to pay back in that time. So it's adjusted, but we're continuing to look. And as far as solar, we've talked it. It's more expensive. That's the reality. It's more expensive to put on. It has a good return down the road, but it's just a real challenge. I just want to say that we have not only looked, but we were granted.
All right.
And it was.
We appreciate that
Thank you.
clarification. We're going to move on. Ms. Wright, health insurance, how much did that increase? How much overall? I mean, for our entire city, how much did we budget for an increases in health
But
insurance?
actually, you mean as far as an individual or total?
Total,
Total, it actually, we budgeted down.
budget down.
Rates income, I mean, we got a better deal.
And why is that? I'm sorry.
Excuse me. That's all right. Councilperson Basham.
Now, could you go into further detail about that?
Well,
Why it's less?
Yeah, we changed providers. That's given us a better deal.
Okay, and to follow up on that, so we can expect that we won't be increasing our health insurance premiums for our employees?
No, we will not.
Good.
Okay, that's good news
Yeah.
right there.
It's actually going down 13%.
For our employees?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and
With comparable coverage, or are we unfortunately
Same
losing out on
coverage,
Dr.
yeah.
Hogan?
Same, basically the same.
Okay,
I'm sorry for that.
that's okay, you're fine. We're working through. Councilperson Golding, did you have a question?
I
On
do.
Board of Works?
I do. There are a couple things I'm looking at today's budget performance. Thank you for sending that, Mr.
Yeah.
Wright, through today, toward the bottom of this actually, that we're pretty low on and a couple that we're over on. And I'm just kind of wondering, when we were talking earlier about the other insurance, looks like we've only used 9% of that
Yeah,
at
but
this
that'll all
point.
come towards the end of the year.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Is that when the audits are done and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then we're quite a bit over on the just general other services and charges. We're 159% already. Any idea why that is and what that's for?
A lot of
I know it's a lot of probably
legal.
miscellaneous,
Yeah,
but
it's legal. A lot of legal fees that we get put into other services and charges.
Okay.
One more question?
Yes, Board of Work question from
Yes.
Councilperson Selvey.
Thank you, Chair Lady.
Thank you.
The communication fee, that comes from the Board of Works, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that went up 10%, is that right?
What the communication center is at $1 million.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
still the same? It didn't go up, okay.
Any other questions at this end for Board of Works? No, at this end? All right, so we will move on and we'll quickly go over the city council budget, which is on page 5. We don't have a whole lot of us, so.
4%.
4% salary increase, and I.
Unless you don't want it,
We'll see, if we can help out. And the only other thing I had is I would like for you to kind of explain the City Council Ethics Commission $3,000 charge, just so that people are aware that we're taking on that expense. What is that charge for?
That's the videotaping.
Videotaping
Yeah.
the
Or the streaming. I'm old school, so I say
Got it.
streaming.
And this year that is being covered by our attorney has covered those costs, so, all right.
Which, yeah, I kept your, the attorney fees the same.
Of course.
And increase that.
They should be. All right, any questions about city council budget from any of our finance committee members? All right, and so then we will move on to Channel 60, and Channel 60 is on page 18. And that would, as we turn to page 18, Channel 60 is it is the communications director,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. So,
No changes with the exception of the pay.
well, my first question is your intention to fund this position out of the general fund in 2026? Okay. And the salary increase is more than 13%. Is there a reason why the salary is 13% higher than it was scheduled, budgeted, appropriated for?
I took it from the salary ordinance, that was the amended salary ordinance, then added 4% to it.
Okay. And we'll review that salary ordinance and the minutes that go with that. And then, just for my own clarification, so the funding was eliminated for that position this year out of the general fund, but we are paying $18,000 from the general fund in benefits for that position that the funding was eliminated?
The money was moved from edit to that to pay it. Because there weren't the benefits, weren't benefits lines in edit.
Well, let's see.
I believe that to be the case. I'll confirm that with our.
Hold on 1 second, and then I will open for questions, but let me find it. There's life insurance, there's health insurance, there's all those. So those, you're saying that that's money being paid for out of edit, but it's in the general fund. So you've moved money out of edit into the general fund this year?
I believe that to be the case. I can confirm that for you.
Yeah, could you confirm that and send
Sure.
that documentation to us? Thank you. All right, anyone else have questions for Channel 60? No. Anyone? Okay, so then we'll move on to you, Controller, and that is on page 1.
No changes, with the exception of the salary, and everything else stayed the same.
Okay, so, hold on, and so again, I ask, is it your intention to fund the position of deputy controller out of the general fund for
Yes.
2026?
Yes.
Okay. And your salary increase is slightly more than 6% from the line item appropriated for 2025? Is that an error?
Took
or-
it from the salary ordinance, from the amended salary ordinance, and budgeted 4% in on it.
So what you're saying is that you took the 69,686 that we appropriated into the line item, that would have been the salary from 2024 plus 1%, because that's what we did for this budget. You added 4% to it this year, correct?
The current.
And then you're adding 4% more for next year. But that would be more than 6%. You've only added 6%. So my question is, what's up with the math? I mean, that doesn't make sense with what you're saying. So I guess I'm just wondering how you calculated that.
I took the amended salary, which was, right now, it's at 25.80.85 biweekly, and then added the 4% to it.
Okay. So you're saying you did not get 4% increase this year? You got just the 1% and some change?
This is the current salary ordinance, the amended one that we did.
Okay,
And
for
we did it, I
AFSCME,
think,
for
in April.
AFSCME and civilian employees.
Pardon?
Okay. Okay, so next, question about your overtime line item. It went from $5,130 to $53,352. Is that what you're budgeting?
Yes.
You are increasing your
Well, we,
overtime line item by more than almost $50,000.
no. Overtime, we're at 50. Let's see.
Overtime,
Oh.
you,
Yeah, that is an error. I did not catch that, my
Okay.
apologies. Yeah,
so
yes.
that we have our first reduction, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, we just were looking for fun.
Yeah.
I've got an apartment spot out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, and then I will open it up to the floor. So that is definitely, we're gonna put a star by that one.
And I would agree with that 100%.
All right, let's see. And then some questions, and I'm asking from the June budget report. How do you decide a budget amendment for the budget? For instance, and I'll just go in your budget, the first line is the adopted budget, and then there's the next column is budget amendments. And so for deputy controller, you amended in $1,725. For city controller, you amended in $1,874. For payroll clerk, you amended in $3,900, and those happen throughout the budget. And so my question is, why are you amending in money to appropriated line items, and where does that money come from?
Yeah.
And why?
I believe originally when we budgeted for this year, we budgeted a 3% increase.
Originally, when we budgeted and adopted the budget in October, we budgeted for a 1% increase because we had all three unions in active negotiations.
Okay.
So we passed an adopted budget that had the 2024 salaries plus 1%. And so I'm just curious why you're amending money into these line items without coming before council.
These,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, it's, from,
I mean, it's throughout the budget. If committee members will look at their budget performance report, there's a lot of money, and this is from June, so I haven't even looked at the most recent. You're putting money into line items that have been adopted by council without coming before council. So I'm curious where that money is coming from.
I will look into it and get an answer for you on that.
Okay,
as far as
I do expect an answer on that. And then my next question is why? Why are you adding money to line items that have already been adopted from appropriations by the fiscal body?
From the additional percentage that we got from the AFSCME.
No, you're not a member of AFSCME, sir.
So, my department is.
your deputy controller is not, he should be being paid by edit. So that wouldn't be in there. Let's see. Mrs. Bunsen, are you a member of AFSCME?
No.
Okay, so that wouldn't be it. So I'm just curious why there are monies being amended into line items that we've adopted as a fiscal body without coming before council.
So, I mean, I know that's something that's amended on there, so.
And so then depending on where it comes from, because there are certain situations where you can move money around without getting
And we
council
do.
approval, but depending on,
As long as
I-
they're in the line items from the 4-1s and the 4-2s and 4-3s.
Well,
So is that what you've done?
So-
Sorry.
then
Sorry.
you watch it. So again, it would have to come from another category that has to do with employee service charges. So we're looking at Medicare or overtime or things along those lines, but we should see decreases in those line items in this budget if that's where they're coming from, and we don't see those. So I just am curious again where this money is coming from that you're putting into these line items that we've adopted totals for.
And I will get
Okay.
the answer for you.
And so then my next question is why there wasn't a transfer that came before council with an additional appropriation or even a line item transfer, and you're gonna get to us with that. And then there are instances, and I'll have to find it, but there's actually instances where you took money out of budgets, but I guess that's your priority, it's you know. And then because it's such an interesting instance, I guess I asked again, how can you amend the budget without council approval? But I will allow an open floor so that others can ask some questions. Any questions from the council as of yet? Okay. So, our general, now we'll go on to a couple of the miscellaneous revenues for next year. General fund miscellaneous revenue increased by about almost $900,000, but almost every other line item fund went down. Local roads and streets, other receipts is down by $1.2 million. Can you explain that?
I'm gonna look.
The edit,
It's
Yeah.
Form 2.
that
Yeah,
would be the edit funds. They would be considered in the,
miscellaneous.
as a transfer,
For local roads and streets.
not for local roads and streets.
That's what I'm asking about. Local roads and streets, other receipts is down $1.2 million. And I'm just curious where that have we lost major amounts of funding in local roads and streets?
That would be Adam, the city engineer and street.
I'll make sure to
Yes.
ask. I just asked you
Yeah.
because you're the one that input the information. Next.
And he's got an explanation on this.
I'll ask him on Tuesday, thank you. Next, $500,000 in motor vehicle and other receipts. So I guess we'll have to ask Mr. Leach what other receipts are, so we'll know why we're losing almost $1.7 million out of our street department. As far as.
But he also, I know he has cash, the beginning cash balance in this.
Okay. So then again, we talked about edit being up $1.9 million, and that was an excellent question, and I appreciate the mayor making sure that the commitment to the community center is still on board for that $500,000. But the overall picture is that we are nearly every fund except the general fund, the edit, and the parks decreased. And so there's nearly $5 million decrease in our miscellaneous revenue for 2026 from 2025. And I'm just curious, are you saying that that's due to state board, Senate Bill 1, or is that where we're seeing that? Or is it just the fact that that's the way the numbers went that day?
I mean, you certainly set in with the DLGF, I mean, on
Well,
what we're getting
unfortunately, you
on
didn't
that.
have any of the miscellaneous revenues ready
So.
that day, so.
So, I mean, it's, a lot goes into miscellaneous revenues. You've
Right.
got,
Well, a lot came out this year for next year, so that's unfortunate for us.
The miscellaneous revenues, that comes from the state.
And
So-
so, do they? Because actually, when we met with DLGF, Councilperson Basham and I, they were expecting you to already have entered those things, and they weren't entered that day. Those come from you, from what I
I
understand.
think it was Form 1 that they,
No, Form 1 wasn't completed, but Form 2, which is miscellaneous revenues, wasn't completed as well. You had just started putting in some data, but they were asking about that because it wasn't in. So are you saying that the DLGF creates these
we gave
numbers,
you-
or
we-
do you create these numbers?
That's
That's my question. Do you create the miscellaneous revenue numbers?
there are certain miscellaneous revenues which we gave you and Councilman Basham copies at the meeting.
You
The-
gave us a
And
paper.
then, but then there's like, building permits, there's
Right, and
different
those are in
fees,
general
and
fund,
those
and general
would
fund
be,
went up.
those
So
would be generated by us based on what the building commissioner projects that they're, like for for the
Okay.
instance, building permits. But some of the miscellaneous revenues come from the state, some of them, and it's on the DLGF website, anybody can look it up.
Well, I don't
Um,
know that we can look it up at this point in time without having access to it, because you can't look up
It's,
the current year.
it's on their
I
website.
don't believe we can look up the current year. We can look up
It-
this year's.
I can email you the link, which takes you right to, you just have to go to county specific.
So
and
you
then-
would would give us access to reading rights only to the gateway?
No, I would give you access to this is going through the front door, like any other citizen could
Right.
do.
Because that is something I think we would all appreciate, is access to gateway read-only rights to see what's going in and what's going out. But that's another conversation for another day.
Right, but I can send you the link that I use that is not, it's not specific, I don't enter a password or anything. It's on the internet that shows county specific, you can go through all 92 counties and look at all their miscellaneous revenues and things.
Okay.
But yeah, and I'm happy to do that, and that's the copies that I gave both of you were off of that website.
Okay. All right. I don't know that they were complete. From what we see is Form 2. I know that there were probably 10 line items at that point in
There
time.
was some things that weren't in yet, but as
Okay.
far as the miscellaneous revenue that the state produces, that part of
And
it
to
was.
be fair, I think we also had anticipated another meeting for updated data, but I don't know that
No,
that
we were
happened.
hoping, and yes, you're exactly right, Councilman Basham. We were hoping that our DLGF field rep would fill out the budget worksheet based on this year's numbers, because we didn't have the data for next year at that point in time, because it hadn't been entered, and so we were going to meet in their office when it came in, but it didn't come in for a long time.
Yeah.
So, through no fault of your own.
No.
All right, so then we will open up the floor. Any questions for the controller on the controller budget?
I think that's been covered.
Very good.
Okay, so we will move on from controller to personnel. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you guys answering our questions.
Thank you.
Personnel is on page 6.
I'm gonna do a mic check here. Can you
Make
guys
sure
hear
that we
me?
can hear you on the mic, because that's the only,
I know, it's been hard to hear.
I'll put my eyes back
Get
on.
close.
All right.
Good evening, council.
Good evening. We appreciate you coming in on a Friday night. I know it's where you want to spend all your time. We will start with your salary increase by more than 6%. Can we understand, can you give us an explanation why?
I can. So we took the salary budget that was adopted in, I believe, March of this year, and 4% on top of that, which is what we budgeted. So,
Okay.
okay,
So you base it on the salary ordinance, not what was appropriated?
that is correct.
Okay. All right. Your specialist salary only went up $83 though. Is there an explanation there? Because that's not 4%. What happened
It
there?
actually should, my numbers were not that, but I'm not sure. Let me look at the numbers that you have in front of you, okay? I have my
Page
numbers.
6 of the proposed budget, personnel specialist, it went up $83 from what, let me make sure here, page 6. So in 2025, for this year, the council adopted a budget for specialists for $47,074, and the 2025 total is $47,157. They made a whopping $83.
Well, that certainly wasn't intentional, if that is indeed what happened. Look, I have the salary ordinance right here, now I'm not finding it. Because you're putting me on the spot, Ms. Powell.
I asked you to come prepared to answer questions about your proposed budget.
And I did, and I was just joking with you, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Just give me a moment, if you would.
Sure.
So the salary ordinance is already up.
That's the third line down, right?
Yes, personnel specialist. It's page 6 on both budgets.
So the salary ordinance for this year, for the annual, would have been 45,343.74. So if the new budget is just what you said, it's actually $2,000 more. So the salary ordinance from
Please continue, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. The salary ordinance, personnel specialist, is $1743.99 biweekly. On an annual rate, that's $45,343.74. And then it went up in my budget proposal to $47,157.
Well, that's very interesting because we adopted 47,074, so we've been underpaying your personnel specialist this entire year from what the council appropriated for them to earn.
And the thing, my understanding is about the salary ordinance is that is an up to amount, if I'm
Absolutely.
correct. And so if they're being paid less than the salary ordinance, that's okay. So if we're under budget,
Okay, so my next question is for you, Mr. Craig, right? If we're saying that it's okay that we don't go up to salary ordinance and everyone else has been being paid at the salary ordinance this year, why isn't the personnel specialist being paid at the salary ordinance?
could I provide it?
Hold on, I'm asking a question of Mr. Wright.
I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, it's, look at the salary ordinance, and we did the 4% as well.
Is this personnel specialist a member of AFSCME? Are they
No.
a member of the, okay,
Are
so
you
they're a
asking me?
civilian employee? That's fine, I was asking you.
No members of my team are a member of AFSCME. And the reason the salary is less is because the person is a fairly new hire within my department. They're not experienced yet. And we had someone who was long-term,
That
who
makes sense.
retired. And so once they get their skill set up, experience, et cetera, then we will go up to, which is what I encourage all of our department heads to do, to
That
not
is a valid
necessarily start them at the top.
So we will put that. Do you intend, so then the intention is to pay this personnel specialist $47,157 in 2026?
Once
Okay.
they get up to where I would expect their performance to be, yes, ma'am.
Do you have a date for that? I mean,
The person, this,
that's very subjective.
it is very subjective. I will tell you, the person is newly hired at about 6 weeks in. It was vacant for about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months. So it just depends on how he does.
And I understand that and I
Yeah.
respect that. I just want to, we are always going to advocate for our employees and make sure that they are being paid as much as possible, as soon as possible. And so that's the reason I asked that question. Councilperson
And may I
Baxter?
just put an exclamation mark on Congressperson of, councilperson, I'm sorry. That, I appreciate knowing that.
Yeah, that was a very,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
And anyone else down?
Councilperson.
Councilperson Garrett?
Or do you have like, just to kind of piggyback, do you have a timeline or like a training that you go through to get this employee up to par where she'll be at this? Like, or is it kind of like when you think she's there?
So if I can correct you, actually this position is filled by a male.
Okay,
So
sorry.
that's okay. I have a timeline when they're working independently is what I would like to see. I don't have that at this point.
Okay.
So I feel like once they're through the training period, typically that would take about 90 days.
Okay. All right.
But again, we're not there yet. And, you know, it's an incentive as well, you know, to work
Yeah.
toward.
Right, correct.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
Next,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Councilperson, did I hear? Okay. Next question. Employee assistance program is zeroed out.
that is correct. It
Okay,
was
are we
zero
not
last year.
offering that anymore?
No, we
Or is
do
that being
have-
funded from another?
It's being funded, I believe, from the Board of Works. It's the Employee Assistance Program. We do have it, and folks are actively using it. I refer it all the time.
Thank you very much. I know that's very important to our employees. Why is there not a line item in Board of Works for employee assistance program if it's being paid for out of Board of Works, sir?
He had other services and charges.
Thank you. Okay. All right, and my last question is that you've added other services and charges line item, and I'm just curious what that includes.
Okay, actually, I moved $300 from my office supplies down to other services and charges.
Okay.
Because I can't move, because the 401s and the 42s and the 43s, right?
Yes.
And some of my charges, if you will, don't fall under office supplies. For example, I had to have locks fixed in my office on my furniture. And that doesn't fall under office supplies. It doesn't really fall under any of my categories, right? And so I needed some funding in that line item so I could put some miscellaneous things in there.
Okay, so you created that, or if either that or you funded a line item that wasn't showing up because it wasn't funded.
That's
in the past.
correct.
Okay.
It was not funded last year, but I
Got
just
it.
moved money from office supplies down
Okay.
to other
All
services and
right,
charges.
all right. Any questions for personnel? Councilperson Green?
Yes, thank you. I have a question on the other insurance. Would like you to clarify what that is, that $38.50.
You know, I actually thought that was like life insurance and those kinds of things, but I'm not positive. That's kind of one of those, I think every department head has said, I'm unsure, let's ask the controller. And so I guess I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm sorry. I don't actually get bills for it, if you know what I mean.
May we ask Mr. Wright what that
Yeah,
is?
general liabilities, insurance. Workman's comp. Workman's, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Craig. I apologize that I don't know. I don't get invoices for it, so.
Okay, because you do have a life insurance line item.
Okay, well, then it's not. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Another question from
Yes,
Councilperson
it
Green.
is. Training fees and instructions.
Yes, we have not utilized that much this year. As I've already explained earlier in the presentation, we've had some transition in my department, actually since I started. Maybe because of me, I'm not sure, I hope not. But at any rate, we've had some transition. We haven't been able to utilize it. However, we are spending some now out of there, and we'll continue to do so. We don't plan to use the entire 3,000 this year.
So you do intend to next year?
I hope to continue to have that budgeted for next year, the same amount, so that we can utilize it more next year than we were able to this year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilperson Basham, did you have a question?
No.
Okay, I thought I cut you off. Okay, any questions for personnel? Any questions? All right, we are finished. Thank
All
you very
right,
much for your
thank
time
you
on
guys
Friday
so
night.
much. And it is a little nerve-wracking having.
Oh,
all
we
of this.
understand that.
You did just fine.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you. We are going to take a breath and welcome the Muncie Fire Department up to the podium. And they are on, starting with the Muncie Fire Department General Fund budget. It is page 11 of your 2025 and your 2026 budgets. And Chief, if you'll give us just a moment to get to the right spot. Again, I want to remind you to please talk clearly into the microphone so Lacey can work her magic. Okay. I'll make sure everyone gets on the. Okay. And this is a rather large budget, so I am going to ask people to be recognized before they, as we get. No, I'm sorry, and I did that. I apologize. But yes, so we will go ahead and start. Sorry. All right. So, your chief salary line item increased by over $36,000. Is that you and deputy chief?
It's just the
Did
two
you-
of us, correct.
the two
Yeah,
of
if
you?
you remember last year, there was a lot cut from the chief's line item.
Yes.
But what the salary ordinance, read there again, and so, we had figured those raises, and then we put 4% on what that was, what we were currently paying.
And so I have a question. Are you part of the city's negotiation team?
We do
You
sit.
sit in on the city side?
Yep, we do.
And you're members of the union as well?
Well, we're members in
You fall
good
under,
standing.
you fall
Yeah.
under the CBA?
No,
You don't?
not technically. We don't technically negotiate the chief's salary now.
Okay. So you fall under the CBA and you sit in on the city's negotiation team?
But we don't technically fall completely under the CBA, but under the salary ordinance, we do receive the longevity, the tech pays, things like that, as it's written in the salary ordinance.
And just for clarification, so in the 10% that was negotiated for next year, if and when, you would have gotten that 10%?
I would assume so.
So you do fall under the CBA in regards to salaries and things like that?
Traditionally, the chiefs of the fire department have received the same base pay raises as the firefighters did.
I wasn't familiar with the chiefs being under the thing. So I guess on that, we all fill out a conflict of interest form?
Mhm.
Have you filled that out and provided it to either HR or to the clerk?
They require us to fill them out annually.
Okay,
Correct.
all right. So, and moving on down, all of your department positions are put into one line item?
Yeah,
And that's-
if I can, the easiest way for me to explain was I took this year's budget, the 25 budget, and I figured the 4% raises and what those costs are across the board, across all three funds, technically four funds because we have two in the 104, that we pay to come up with what the totals were, what the total impact was per fund. And then from there, we took that dollar amount and then combined things. So that we're down, instead of paying a firefighter salary out of three separate funds, we're paying out of one.
The general fund. So you
Correct.
moved all that financial burden into the general fund?
Well, but we removed the overtime out of the general fund. We removed the perf out of the general fund as well. So it balanced the totals that it was costing per fund. But this is something that, in the 3.5 years that I've been in with the administration, I've been looking forward to do because it makes it easier for us to stand here and budget with you, makes it easier for you to go through the budget, makes it easier for the controller's office to pay. We have such a problem with funds and things getting mixed up. So,
Well, I'm probably going to go through with the questions as I review the budget, so I probably won't be lumping everything together. Well, I know I won't. I'm going to go through the questions that I wrote. But you're more than welcome to explain that you've done
Sure.
that, and that's why you've done that.
Yep.
But so all of the firefighter, everything from deputy chief is put in with you,
Correct.
And then everything else is put into the firefighter line item. And we're not asking anything about that, or, because we know, again, we learned last year that there's many, many different variables. And so we're gonna have to take your word on it, that that's 4% and go from there. But your other employees, they all increased by 4%? Office manager and things along those lines?
Correct.
Okay. And then, let's see, your holiday pay, and I'm talking strictly general fund, increased by $51,000.
And that's correct, because we took holiday pays from the other funds, put them into this fund as well, and then transferred things out of this fund into, so that we had, like I said, we have single line items now for holiday pay.
Okay, I didn't know if that was just a contractual bump or, but that's just.
No,
basically
the total
moving-
actually stays the same, but now instead of paying from multiple funds, it will be paid from the 101.
Okay. And so your perf expense went to the other fund, and so there's no perf coming from anywhere other than and I'll get to it, but
Correct,
probably.
yes. For suppression personnel, their perf is being moved to the 105.
Suppression. And I'll ask you a question about that, personnel. All right. And I promise I will let other people ask. Clothing allowance was increased by $195,000. Is that, again, moving it from another fund to
It
this fund?
decreased. It's in 101, it should have gone down to 0 because that was moved to another fund as well.
Okay, let's look. Is that what you have as a 0? Yeah. Okay. Then I didn't accept funds there, so that's a 0 for general fund. Thank you. And then just some clarification questions. Condition of maintenance, $11,000. What is that?
That's the contractual amount. It's $100 per merit firefighter that is for the individuals to use at their stations. It's divided up by station so they can purchase televisions, grills, things they need for their stations.
Okay. And then repair and maintenance, $126,000. What is that? Is that repairs for the different stations, of course?
No, this is equipment rental and repair.
I am looking at, and I could be wrong, let me put my, repair and maintenance, other services and charges, 10121436011, it just says repair and maintenance.
Yeah,
Doesn't say equipment.
That was in the 436011 in the 105, as it reads on our chart, it's been used as equipment rental, repair, and maintenance. And that was moved out of the 105 up to the 101.
Okay, and and maybe the, okay, so that is moved. And furniture and fixtures, 15,000? Would that be TVs and grills and stuff, or is that?
That's beds, sofas, recliners, the things that the city provides automatically for the
Okay.
firefighters.
Of course. And then what vehicle is being leased, that we see vehicle lease?
The vehicle lease in the 101, that is for the aerial truck that Ball State pays. Ball State's revenue and Ball Hospital's revenue go directly into the 101.
Okay.
So that's why that's paid out of the 101.
And then, one moment, please. So, looking at this. As of June, 79% of your overtime budget for general fund had been spent down. I'm not sure, and I'm sure that Councilman Basham can tell me what has been depleted.
It's at 122 as of today.
I'm sorry, what?
It's at 122 as of today.
Yeah, he's right.
122 depleted.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then, but
Out
we
of the
are,
general fund,
what's that?
and that's out of general fund.
Correct, yeah. Yeah, if you look through all the overtimes and all the funds right now, they're maxed out.
And then 200% of your unemployment budget was spent by the June 30th?
300.
Yeah, there was
300
no
now?
money in the unemployment line item at all. And that's taken out upstairs.
And then an odd question for this is that other insurance wasn't even budgeted in the general fund, but you spent $79,000 out of that line item. When you look at the budget performance report, where did it go? Where did it go? Other insurance.
Well, I see where you're at.
Other insurance. And so, what is that? And
Well,
is that a situation where you're amending money into a line item that?
That other insurance line item, I said that's done through the controller's office as far as where our insurances come from. The other insurance in the 105, though, I know that pays for our liabilities, our vehicles, our stations,
Okay.
those policies.
So other insurance, general fund, let me make sure that that's where I am. Other insurance, general fund, budgeted for a nothing. Current monthly transactions are $7,800. So you're spending $7,800 out of a line item that had no money put into it. I don't understand how that's happening.
We haven't GL'd anything for that line item from our office.
Okay, so you are $79,000 in the hole of a line item that has never had money appropriated into it. So we'll make a mark by that one.
Sorry.
So software is and again, I'm going by June 30th, so software is 88% expended. And is that a set annual amount that's contractual, like that's our software contract, or?
It is, and the majority of that comes out in January.
Sure.
Okay.
Front ended.
And then, other services and charges, 99% expended as of June the 30th. Councilperson Basham, what are we at now?
100.
100, so you spent 1 more percent.
Yeah.
All right. And so, when we do that, and we're at least 3 months left in the year, at what point do you come to council and say, this line item?
Well, we have 3 other services and charges lines.
Thank you very much. And then again, that's
Yep.
perfect explanation. Thank you. So we should not see any more charges coming out of the general fund, other services and charges?
We won't take anything more out of it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. So are there any questions from the council on the general fund budget for the Muncie Fire Department?
No.
Councilperson Green?
I have a few questions if I may. The holiday pay, is that at 1.5 times?
This holiday pay is figured contractually. So
Yeah.
when a holiday's worked, it's $150 for the shift.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question I have is the promotion of business at 12.5. What exactly is that? Could you explain it?
One of the big things we use promotion of business is, and it's our community promotions, I mean, as it's spelled out in ours, but that goes for recruitment, trying to get people, but we also use community promotions for events that we do within the public as well.
May I continue?
Yes, please, Councilman Green, another question. General
what-
fund question.
Question on page 14, where you have copier maintenance of 65,000 and computers, printers, and hardware at 5,000. It appears like you're repairing copiers, spending 65,000 on repairs
Well,
when you should.
Yeah,
buy
this,
new ones.
this is one of those line items that what it reads there is not what it reads within our in-house.
Could you
So
explain?
that one, the 65,000 that we have, that's our software maintenance agreements. I think we went through that last year
We
as well.
did.
Yeah.
Okay. Councilman Green, do you have any other follow-up questions?
I don't believe so. I think
All right.
For now. Thank
Anyone
you.
else for the general fund budget? I'll give everyone a moment to, and we can always circle back if we need to. All right. We will move on to monthly fire department, local income tax budget, and that is going to be of your 2025 budget is page 18, and then Chief has graciously provided us with a schedule. Let me find mine. Give me 1 second, Chief, please. Okay. When we are all ready for the local income tax discussion, we'll move forward. All right. So, do you know what your current non-appropriated balance is for Fund 105?
It'll be 164.9.
Good job. And so your entire perf expense was moved to lit?
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
This one's gonna be a
For-
really easy one.
No, we're good. You
Going
did
forward, I
extremely.
hope.
And so you're no longer paying firefighter wages out of this fund,
Correct.
and no longer paying holiday pay, and so those are being shifted to
Other
general
funds.
fund, but you're also removing general fund expenses as well, so.
Correct.
I
Correct.
appreciate that very much. And you're budgeting health insurance because it's a different fund. And again, we go back to that other insurance for lit. What are you paying?
This is the one that pays all of our liabilities and stuff out of.
Okay, so these are your legal fees
Well, yeah,
and liability and
Yep.
such.
a lot of our
I'm
legal
not
fees come out
implying
of,
legal fees.
yeah, a lot of our legal fees come out of other services.
Okay, all right. And then, and this I am asking mostly for my own understanding, because you're on page 13 of the June 30th budget performance report. It has your Fund 105, but then it goes down to Fund 105 COIT Public Safety. Is that because it's saying that you're overdrawn by that. According to June 30th, it says revenue totals are $1,630,649, and expense totals are $2,022,354. And so, but it's not saying that. So I'm just curious, and maybe that's a discussion that we'll have later, but I just ran across it today and I wanted to tag it because I don't know that I understand the difference between, and maybe that's a question for the controller. What is the difference between Fund 105 COIT and expense and the lit? Anyone?
I can't answer that either. I know we have corporate cash available in our lit account. As of this afternoon, we checked and yes.
So I guess, and I'm going to ask, I'm going to throw it to Mr. Wright really quickly. Is there a difference between what we're saying is COIT, I mean, why would Fund 105 show a negative balance for fire when we know that there is at least 164,000 in there? So that's a question maybe we can resolve. Thank you, sir, I appreciate that. All right.
One of the things I do know reviewing these when we go through them is a lot of times that things are flip-flopped on there where it'll show that it's a debit and a credit. they're actually backwards on a lot of our revenue streams when you read them. So sometimes when you see them in the brackets in there, you know, that's actually a revenue, but it shows up as a negative. And
Right.
so that's
you
possible, but I
understand why we'd
can't.
have to ask, because it's
Yeah.
like, this does not make sense. I'm going to shoot to the audience very quickly, I know this is unorthodox, Mr.
So-
Chapin.
The co-ed comes from the county monthly, we're budgeting yearly. So our yearly budget's 2 million or whatever the full amount. And if you look in June, we've only got half, not getting all
That
the
makes
money.
sense, yeah, you're right,
yeah,
you're right. Okay,
Thank
he's
you.
solved the
Thank
problem. Thank you, sir. You're off the hook, Mr. Wright. So we'll continue on, thank you. And so that expires my questions for the lit. Are there any other questions from the committee on Muncie Fire Department Public Safety Local Income Tax? And I do appreciate, I know that you guys have worked hard to move things into your local income tax funds to free up money in the general fund. I know that it's, it's hard because you do have comprised one of the biggest budgets, but we really would love to see this general fund total. You're like, I think 34% of our general fund budget is from Muncie Fire. And then police is another 40 some. And so 75% of our general fund is public safety. And I understand, don't get me wrong, I understand, and that's something we all expect, and that's one of our big expenses, and it will always be. But anytime we can put elbows up and hopefully push some more money towards animal shelter and other departments that get paid out general fund, and you've always worked with us on that, and I appreciate it.
Sure, like I said, several years ago, police and fire were a lot higher percentage of, and so, yeah.
Absolutely,
it's-
2/3 of our employees.
It's all work. I mean, we're still building our EMS program, and we're working to try to get our stations updated. I mean, there's a lot going on, so,
Right.
there's a lot going on right now with the fire department.
And
And we thank
so we will go on to fire EMS, and then we see the end of the tunnel, people. So, do you want to? Absolutely. We are going to take a 5-minute recess for the bathroom. You're welcome, Mr. Barry. I am putting you on timer, sir. 34 of the old one. Thank you. And so, questions on that? Ambulance shift pay was zeroed out. What is ambulance shift pay?
Well, ambulance shift pay is contractual.
Okay.
The firefighters that ride ambulances get paid based on their EMS certification per day.
Okay.
Well, that was down in the 2.4 part. We just shifted it up into the 2.1, and then adjusted it for the Medic 7, the addition of Medic 7.
Okay, and just since we're not the jargon, 2.4 is what? And
The-
2.7 is what?
Okay, the 104.21 is a firefighter line.
Okay.
The 104.24 is EMS.
EMS. Okay, so within that one fund, there are two different offshoots. So we're looking at
Yes.
that, and then so you almost deplete or moved the 2.1, the 2.4, whatever the firefighters was.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
actually.
I'm gonna use words and not
Yeah.
numbers on this because
No, what we did was, because we brought down and put all the overtime there, because that is the big unknown. And that's the one we always, in all reality, we come back and ask. So that's why we put it here, because when we come to ask you to appropriate money, we're asking you to appropriate money out of the EMS funds for that.
Okay, and so the ambulance shift pay is not needed. It was a contractual thing you gave to firefighters who
Yeah, and
did
it's,
EMS.
it's in the 25 budget, but it was down on the EMS part. We moved it up here because the
Okay.
firefighters who get paid for that. So
All right.
we just shifted that up there.
Okay, and shifted it from within the same fund, but they're two different parts.
Correct.
Okay, thank you for
Yep.
drawing that breadcrumb for me. Building maintenance. Building maintenance in the EMS is for, again, is it just their share of building maintenance for the different fire stations?
Yeah, and that was put in there like that long before I came in, but what we did, we shifted the other building maintenance out of 105 and put that into the 104.24. So it's the same amount of money. There again, we just kind of shelled some things, but it makes it easier for us so that when we do building repairs and stuff, they come out of one line.
And again, this is not DLGF oversight, we're just asking for our own and
No, no,
any
absolutely.
money that, would just go right back into these accounts, so it's not, it's mostly just a learning adventure
Sure.
here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you're no longer paying firefighters out of EMS, but weren't you using 8 positions before? Was that what you had budgeted?
Yes, we were. Mhm.
Okay, and so those 8 positions have been shifted to the general fund?
Yeah, yeah, all salaries went to the general fund.
Okay. And I'm sorry if some of these
If we would have
questions
moved
are-
all the salaries down into one of the others, we would not have had enough funding to do that, and that's why we
Okay.
put them into the general fund. But then removed several things from there to balance it.
All right, and I apologize if some of these are repeat questions, it's just the
Oh,
way
no
that I went
problem.
through this. And so, because of the no firefighters out of the EMS, you've eliminated the holiday pay from EMS, that's what that did, and you added $553,683 to overtime.
Correct.
But that is because, and if I understand this correctly, you took on an entire department without adding any staff.
Mhm.
And so there's naturally gonna be overtime, that's something that we're never gonna get away from.
Correct.
When you have a firefighter who is an EMT riding an ambulance, you have to replace that person on fire suppression side, correct? And if I'm wrong,
Yeah, I mean, technically, what we have is we have a minimum staffing for fire personnel every day,
and that's 33, correct?
and that covers fire and the firefighter portion of the ambulances, other than the 4 civilian medics that we staff daily.
Okay, so, but is that, I mean, I know it's simplified for non-fire staff, but so you have firefighters who cover an ambulance, and then you have to replace them on fire suppression side? Because you don't have someone for that day, you don't have someone who's working both ambulance and fire truck, correct?
They can't ride both pieces at the
Right,
same time.
exactly.
Correct,
So, and
yes.
so that is where we're generating all this overtime, because you've taken on an entire department without adding staff.
Correct, but we have actually added some minimum staffing since the EMS service
You got a
came
minimum staff,
in,
but not,
but not
but not-
actual extra personnel.
so what it's
That's
actually
correct.
doing is generating, by adding additional staffing per day, you've actually increased the number of minimum manning shifts that would be
Correct.
required to meet those, okay?
That's correct.
So that's why we're seeing that. And the overtime, I appreciate that you moved a great chunk of that into EMS, because that
Absolutely.
program is what's generating a lot of that overtime.
Correct.
So I do appreciate that as well.
And like I said, it makes it easier for us when we come back, like I will be in October, coming to ask for additional overtime. When it's right there, it's the money that we have generated. We're not asking, for an already strapped general fund
Right.
to come up with that money.
Right.
It's the same thing with purchasing our fire trucks and stuff as well.
Well, and I know Councilman McIntosh and I, early on in 2024, met with both you and Chief Nindy about, because at that point in time, before you'd hired this whole new group, we were a lot of overtime early in the year. And so
Yes.
we sat down and you talked through a plan, and you were able to tell us how you were gonna solve that problem, and I appreciate that,
Yeah.
because
We are
again-
down greatly from last year in our
Yes.
overtime.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm pleased to say that, but if we can get and keep our staff, it won't be horrible. So.
Well, and again, I appreciate you moving that into another fund from the general fund, which, as we've all said, needs that. So, front office manager for EMS, what is that?
That's the EMS office manager that was put in. 4
And are
years
they
ago.
upstairs or are
No,
they?
they're at Station 1 with the EMS chief.
Okay. I wasn't familiar, and again, like I said, this is, and then 100% of your EMS equipment lease rental payments or money has been spent. Is that something that it's a 1 year, it's a one-time deal? or
That's
are
a
you-
January payment for the cardiac monitors.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, if you look like through the budget performance report, one of the things we do when we're figuring out how we're moving and taking things, some line items go high first, some go less, and then we also have some dual items and multiple. We try to keep the actual whole fund balanced. So if you look at where our whole fund is actually going also, we're not just balancing the line items, we're balancing out the fund for the year.
Yes.
All right. Are there any questions for either chief about their EMS budget for 2026? Okay. Sure, absolutely. Councilperson Gillian.
The clothing pay went up a lot too. Is that something else that you
Yeah,
moved from?
we combined the 3 separate clothing line items and put them into one here in the winter.
Okay.
Like I said, moving forward, this is going to be so much easier for all of us when we're budgeting, you know, when you guys are reviewing it, and also when the controller's office are paying these. We have to, I know you talked about sometimes it looks like we've added money into a line item. Well, we didn't. We actually went up and filed an amendment because people weren't paid correctly, or that overtime fund was becoming, you know, overspent, if you will. And so we did an addendum, you know, so it actually we didn't really move money. We said we paid people out of the other fund, which then.
Well, but again, I hate to be a stickler. If you're moving money from one fund to another fund, it has to come through us.
Well, but the way it was told with us when we talked with, you know, State Board of Accounts and everything, we're not technically moving money. We're saying these people should not have been paid here. They should have been paid here, so now that's
So they
where
were
the money
correcting
comes
an
from.
error. That's a whole other story.
Yes.
If they were correcting an error, if someone got paid out of the wrong fund,
Yes.
putting that money back into to the original fund and taking it out of the correct fund, that.
Right, like all of
That's
our
fine.
ambulance shift pay had been being paid overtime. So we had to go through every member of the department and see how much they had earned, and we corrected that. And so we wanted to get that done so that when we come forth and ask, you know, to correct our overtime, we can do that, so.
Okay, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that explanation.
Yeah.
Was there something, anyone else down here or down here?
Realigning all this prevents that in the future, which is going to be great for all of us.
All right, I appreciate your time, and especially on a Friday night, and so we are done with
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right.